For Comedy Hype News, I'm John Abba.
And the beef goes on. Monique has positioned herself in a series of different conflicts with peers and others in recent years. Her most notable conflict with the peer has been her back and forth with D.L. Hughley. If you can recall, back in 2022, their unknown feud would take to the front page after Monique would boldly diss Hughley in front of a live audience, just before he would take to the stage. Now fast forward, Hughley would share in an interview with Jason Lee on Wednesday that he has no interest to ever speak with Monique, and that his relationship with his daughter has been impacted by Monique's actions. Ironically, just as this new interview would premiere, Monique and her husband Sydney Hicks would go on Instagram Live for nearly an hour stream. While online, Monique would address several people including VladTV, Michael Blackson, Stephen A. Smith, Gary Owen, and of course, D.L. Hughley.
Vlad, I'm talking directly to you, my Caucasian brother from another mother. You've continuously made statements about us trying to extort you for the interview, when in actuality, the only thing we were looking to do was make sure that you did not own Monique's image in all perpetuity. We had an interview set up with you that we confirmed on May 7th, 2018, that was scheduled for the 11th of that same week, which is 4 to 5 days away, depending upon how you look at it. You did not give us the release form until right before we were about to do the interview with you, when we had several days in advance to get that information. I was taught, and we were taught, that you never sign any documentation until you're able to read that and you have somebody read it over who you trust. You keep portraying it as if when we told you we couldn't sign it right then, you said, well, we allowed them, or I allowed them to still do the interview. If you remember, you had your guy reach out for Monique, not us reaching out to be on your platform. So you were not doing us any favor in reference to allowing the interview to continue. You were trying to work it out for yourself. And when we had our attorney look at it, essentially, when we saw the language that you would own it in all perpetuity, which means once you sell your catalog, it was explained to us and we understood it as there was a possibility that whoever you sold that interview to, along with your others, that you owned in all perpetuity, they could cut it up and use it in any way in which they saw fit, which means we have no control over it. So what's standard in the entertainment industry, when you go on different platforms, they give you a licensing agreement and they ask for X amount of time in which to use this, and you either approve it or you don't. In your situation, we would have approved it. However, what happened was, once we looked into, or initially were looking to give you the licensing agreement, and you rejected it because you were like, you own it, and what you did, and we were trying to have control over Monique's image, we had a chance to look at you and the interviews you had done because we didn't know you.
This is from you, Vlad, and we got to talk directly to you because you seem to have a lot to say, but we want to let the community know what you sent to us. Sydney, in the spirit of Monique working things out with Lee Daniels, I would like to extend my hand and work things out with you as well. I apologize for what I said about you. I felt frustrated that other YouTube channels that did interviews with her were allowed to show the interview on their YouTube channels, whereas I was only allowed to have it up for a limited time. But regardless of my personal feelings, this was your business decision, and the way I reacted was unprofessional and immature. I would like to offer her $5,000 for the interview if both of you sign a release form that allows us to keep the interview on our channel like every other channel does. Then he put Sway, Comedy Hype, Breakfast Club, etc.
To which she's never signed a release form for them.
Never. If that number doesn't work for you, I'm open to negotiating. I still feel that this is a very important interview with an Oscar winner that discusses both her professional and personal life, especially at a time when the Oscars are being discussed. Even if you choose not to accept this, I still take responsibility for my actions and hope that we can get past this and work in the future. Congratulations on your family's continued success. Now, that was the email that Vlad sent to us when he saw Lee Daniels do the public apology. Now, you want to read the response?
I will. And just keep in mind, the reason why we're reading this is because the energy that he's giving now has gone back to, I'm a piece of shit, I'm this, I'm that, and all of that. My response to Vlad was, hello, Vlad. First, thank you for the apology. However, if your expression of regret is being made in the spirit of Lee Daniels apologizing to Monique, then remember he did it publicly. That's the same place that you ironically stated the less than flattering things that you did about me. So obviously, in being in alignment with what is right, wouldn't the best place to apologize be publicly? As a man, please know I took no offense to your name calling, as it didn't make any sense that you would have disdain for me listening to our attorney as you listened to your attorney, and I didn't begrudge you. What does hurt my heart, though, is that our community doesn't see that there are no black people who constantly bring white people on their platform to speak negatively about other white people, like you do as a white male interviewer with black people.
Come on.
Your offer of $5,000 means that you missed the point with us, my friend. You see, we are principled individuals that are not moved by money. If spiritually, it doesn't make sense. When Monique says no to a major streaming company's offer of $500K for an hour of work, or no to Tyler Perry, who offered Monique money as his way of saying he was sorry for whatever hurt and pain he caused Monique, but she declined in exchange for a public apology that cost nothing, then why ever would she/we say yes to an interview for $5,000 or more with you?
When Vlad hears these emails,
that, by the way, he gave no response to.
when he hears that, when you hear this, Vlad, maybe the next guest you have on your platform, you won't be so readily going after our black community. You won't be so readily, well, what about this and what about that? And what do you think about this and what do you think about that? And to our people, how many times have we seen white people on Vlad? And I'm not saying there's never been any. I'm not saying that. But how many times have we seen white people on Vlad, and Vlad is going against and asking what they think about other white people? Why do we keep taking the bait? You know why I'm going to keep fighting? And you know why I'm going to keep talking? I read Hattie McDaniel's story. I read Eartha Kitt's story. I read Ethel Waters' story. I made it my business to read those stories. And all of them got the same story. And if you don't believe me, go read it for yourself. They all got done dirty. They all got pushed away. They all was told they wasn't shit. They was all told they need to apologize and do this and do that and do this. And those women left here by themselves. They left here with no money. And they left here knowing that they was fighting for a community that told them to kiss their ass. So for those of you who keep saying, Monique, why you talking? Because damn it, the little girl that comes behind me, hopefully the story gets different. Maybe 100 years from now, somebody might want to say something about Monique. I hope that little girl knows, God damn it, don't give up. Don't let people talk shit on you. Don't be unafraid to keep standing. Be unafraid to keep standing. I'm so sick of reading them stories, and all of them left here.
Our brother D.L. Hughley, who I thought we extended an olive branch the last time we had commentary in reference to when his daughter spoke out, the reason why we stopped and still offered to have a conversation with him to resolve the situation was not out of fear of his daughter doing something. It was out of love for you, DL, because it would be no different than the street we came up on. You might get in a fight with little Tony down the road, but you see Tony's mama coming down the street with them bags, you better go get them bags. I'm not tripping off of what happened between me and Tony. That's his mama. That's your daughter. So we weren't going after you anymore. We weren't even going to bring you up, but you went on, was it Jason Lee?
Yes.
You went on Jason Lee's show, and you wanted to share what?
That I am the cause of the rift between you and your daughter. D.L. Hughley, because you're too afraid to sit down with us, as we've said repeatedly, hey, brother, let's have a conversation and let's do it publicly because our community can really heal on how we can resolve this. But you keep running, and then you keep running your mouth. And after we spoke on you last time, it was like, okay, cool. But when I watched you sit down with Jason Lee and you said, Monique is the reason I have a rift with my daughter, you're the reason you have a rift with your daughter, DL. Stop trying to run away from the fact that you did not protect your baby. And let me be clear with you about something. I'm fighting for your daughter. Because I was that daughter too that had a daddy that did not protect me when I told him I was molested. So I know what that baby's sitting in, and I know what she's dealing with. And though she's a grown woman, I know the trauma that brings. And this ain't no shit that I brought to the table. You did in what you posted. What you posted. I'm getting so sick of you not taking accountability or responsibility for your words, brother. Never would I try to hurt your family, your wife, your daughter. That's not even in me.
Because she never said anything about them. She only spoke about you.
I spoke about you, but it shows too the lack of manhood that you have to try to put it off on your wife and your daughter. That's the lack of man. And then I'm getting sick of you making these comments about who's daddy's daddy. And as if I'm with a gay man. I'm tired of that, DL, because here's the one question I would ask you, brother. When you say who's daddy's daddy, who the hell is the friend? What kind of relationship did you and this man have that you would not protect your daughter? Maybe that's why your daughter's having a problem with you, because the reality is setting in that you loved a man and you don't want to inconvenience your relationship with this man. So when you get...
Was it a man?
I'm sorry. You're right, Daddy. He said his friend. So we don't know. And DL, see, you keep playing. Who's the friend? Say the name to make sure that friend doesn't do it to anybody else. Who's the friend? Or are you still so in love with this friend that you're going to protect the friend? See, I don't mess with nobody, y'all. That's not how I'm built. But when you keep putting your mouth on me and you keep running your mouth, I'm not the one that's going to back down, D.L. Hughley. You know what I appreciate about Shannon Sharpe? And you have people saying, he's not a real journalist. He's not. What he is a true brother. What he is a brother that says, I'm going to let you tell your story. I'm going to let you tell your story. That's what Shannon Sharpe is. And that's why Shannon Sharpe, Club Shay Shay, is so successful. Because that brother talks to you with no judgment. That brother ain't trying to put nobody against nobody. He's simply letting you tell your story. And I think some people may have a problem.
When it came to Gary Owen, Monique would push back on Owen at one point, going against Monique for calling out producer Will Packer. Her husband, Sidney Hicks, would label Owen as a guest within the culture and should credit his black wife for his past. Now, when this was all done, Monique would post to Instagram Live with the following caption: "Truth, accountability, and trauma. We love us for real." For some, however, it appears that Monique's constant conflict with others is hitting a sour note, as one follower would write, "Please people, never do business with Monique and her daddy. If things don't go like the way they want, they will blast you and title it Truth, Accountability, and Trauma." Another one would go on and say, "It's always something with y'all. It's so exhausting." And another would write, "Here we go again." Now, others in Monique's comments, however, would go on to encourage her to keep speaking up and telling her truth. Neither Gary Owens, D.L. Hughley, Michael Blackson, or VladTV has yet to respond. Let's talk about it more in the comments below. Plus, stay up to date for the latest news and comedy by subscribing here to our YouTube channel and follow Comedy Hype across all social media. For Comedy Hype News, I'm John Apple.